Welcome to the Danny Clinkscale Reasonably Irreverent podcast. Insightful and witty commentary, probing interviews, and detours from the beaten path.
Every once in a while, we have to bring out the big dog.
Yeah.
Oh, God help us. It's time for Danny Unleashed. Sponsored by Easton Roofing, where integrity matters. Go to eastonroofing.com for more.
Oh, so much to talk about with the great Danny Clinkscale from DannyClinkscale.com. I got to write this down so I don't forget this one. Of course, Danny, brought to you by our friends at Easton Roofing. Easton Roofing, integrity matters. Did you know that Easton Roofing works all over the metro, including Lawrence and Topeka? Well, you do now. Let Charles, Austin, Chris, Dan, any one of the guys be happy to come out and give you a free inspection and a free estimate if you do indeed need a repair or a new roof. Easton Roofing, you can call them today at 913-257-5426. The big storms rolling through as they do every spring here in Kansas City. A lot of hail, a lot of high wind the other day. If your roof is getting beaten up, if it's getting older, get that free inspection. Find out if you need repairs or a new roof. Easton Roofing, never any high-pressure sales tactics, never knocking on doors, never trying to get you to put in a false insurance claim that can really blow up in your face and cost you a lot of money down the road. Not Easton Roofing. Easton Roofing, integrity matters, both commercial and residential. Project manager on every site, and, of course, no payment collected until you're 100% satisfied. Credit cards, yes. PayPal, yes. Even financing available as well. Call Joe and his great team at 913-257-5426. Look them up online at eastonroofing.com. And I will tell you that also you need to get over to Bushnell for the big Father's Day sale. They are rocking and rolling today until 7, tomorrow 10 to 5, and then that is it. So if you want the best selection of great gifts for any father on your list, and even yourself, like $25 spotting scopes, $50 golf GPS, golf laser rangefinder starting at $149.99. Take $30 off any Bushnell Prime binocular or rifle scope. Trail cameras for just $30. $10 Camelback water bottles. End-of-season specials on ground blinds, turkey decoys, turkey calls, 50% off select Blackhawk outerwear, and they're registering folks to win a brand-new Bushnell Nitro 1800 rangefinder. You can do it all at the Bushnell Factory Outlet. 8500 Marshall Drive, that's basically, picture the northwest corner of 87th and I-35. Marshall is just the outer road right there along I-35. But if you're going to GPS it, 8500 Marshall Drive, great KC company. The sale goes today until 7 and tomorrow 10 to 5, and then that is it. Take advantage of it right now at the Bushnell Factory Outlet store. Danny, how are you, my friend? What's going on?
Well, despite a personal weekend of catastrophe last weekend, I'm doing just fine.
So that is like a screaming cry to ask you, oh, really? What's going on?
Well, I can make this brief by saying that both my Wednesday and Thursday podcast, the Wednesday one, which is called Reconcilable Differences with Danny and Jane, a couples podcast, and Thursdays, Thirsty Thursday, Sense and Nonsense, include details on my weekend, so I don't have to go into a specific detail. But it was our anniversary. We were supposed to go on a nice driving overnight trip to Council Grove, Kansas, and to put it briefly, my car died and had to be towed, and while we were waiting for the tow truck, my wife broke her ankle.
Oh, my God, that's terrible.
Yeah.
What was the bad part?
Where the hell is Council Groves, Kansas?
Well, we actually went there last year and stayed because we were going to the Symphony of the Flint Hills, and we found an Airbnb property we liked, but they ended up canceling it due to high winds, so we didn't actually go to that, but we liked the little community there, and there's nice little art galleries and shops and a nice downtown to ride your bike or walk, so we were going back there, and now maybe we'll go back there in a few months. I don't know, because my wife's in a boot, and she's not supposed to put any pressure on her foot 4 weeks.
Wow. Well, tell her we're thinking about it. That's terrible.
Yeah, it is. But she's doing a good job of bearing up on it, and I've been a relatively good nursemaid so far. So
I doubt that. I really do.
Well, our house is all stairs, so I'm climbing a lot of them. With coffee, with water, with...
There's almost
Why,
no
you've
place
been hanging out over there watching Danny go up and down the stairs? That's a little creepy.
I've been at his house, so it hasn't changed much since the design.
It's not very wide, but it's all up and down.
Every place you go to, there's at least one stair, seemingly.
That's right.
From room to room.
So she's mostly in the upper level, and we've set up their little office up there, and, it's easy to just forget. Oh, sorry, I left my coffee cup downstairs, stuff like that. So,
I'm curious, is Jane creeped out by the fact that Curtis is hanging out there watching you go up and down the stairs?
A little bit, probably.
Jane likes Curtis, so she's always happy to have him around.
I don't know.
Everybody likes Curtis. Who doesn't like Curtis? Well, apparently a lot of people on Twitter, but other than that...
Although I did hear the other night, it was a very quiet moment. I was, in the corner by the door. I heard Jane go, "When is he going to leave?
Yeah.
Why is he still here?"
Don't do that again, because I got actually a creepy vibe that there you were.
He'd be hard to miss if he was there.
Right.
Yes.
So. I'm not subtle.
No.
Hiding in the corner. You mean occupying 25% of the room to one side?
I can't hide in the corner of Yellowstone Park.
All right, Danny, I'm going to let you pick the topic.
Out of a list or what?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we can go name and image likeness being passed in Florida, and going to start a full year and a half ahead of California and Colorado on July 1 of next year. We talk about the NFL owners and what they have done to this point and will or should do moving forward with the Black Lives Matter movement that's going on and has clearly been made a priority by their players. We can talk about the Royals draft. We can talk about Dayton Moore's frustration with the game. We can talk about the new baseball offer that's out there, or we can talk about Brett Bielema suing Arkansas for $7 million. Of course, Brett Bielema must have some rub based upon the time he was there with who? Jeff Long.
That would be
who
correct.
Just settled a lawsuit with David Beatty. Where would you like to begin?
Why don't we start with the frustrations of Dayton Moore with baseball? Because I think maybe that probably doesn't get as much discussion as some of the other things. So, I think everybody is frustrated with baseball, and I think they have a right to be. You can be right at the wrong time, and I would say that both sides, the players especially, I think are in the right, but both sides should realize where we are in time and put some things to the side, even if it means that they have to be contentious issues to deal with in 18 months down the road, and get their asses on the baseball field.
So as a sidebar of that before you continue, because I'm sure you have more, if they get on the field before the NBA does, which I guess they're now targeting July 30th, if they're on the field by July 15th, even after screwing around here for another week or so, I mean, is that do we have to take back and say, why didn't they get this done earlier? Because I don't think enough is being made of the fact that the NBA's got an agreement and they're going to rush right out there and play in 59 days.
Right, I do see that, but I don't think they air their dirty laundry as much as baseball did.
No,
and I think
but at the end of the day, for the fans, everyone's like the baseball doesn't get the fans. They're all greedy. They're all this and that. Okay, so baseball is much worse about airing the laundry out there. Granted, yes, guilty. But at the end of the day, if what it is that we're essentially all pissed about, because in reality it's millions and billions of dollars that we don't have any share in. Right? So what the hell do we care what the economics really are? If it truly is just about playing the game, we're going to have all this, which speaks to how bad their PR is, that we'll have all this consternation and how greedy they are, and they paint themselves as bad guys, and they lose interest, when in reality they still can get on the field before the NBA gets on the court. And I don't think anyone's talking enough about the fact that the NBA, the MLS is getting on the pitch by July 8th. I don't think there's any reason for the NBA to need any more time than that. They're playing at the same freaking place with less players on each team.
Well, I agree that they probably deserve a little bit of criticism, but also part of what you mentioned, I guess, is part of my thought, too, is that baseball now has, I believe, it would seem, missed the opportunity to get on the field first as a team sport, which would have been a great thing. And Now soccer is going to, especially with the auspices of ESPN desperately wanting some content, have one soccer game after another being shown on ESPN's platform before baseball plays or basketball plays. So, yes, basketball probably could move a little more adroitly. Why they aren't, I can't really tell because they are in agreement. I don't know. Maybe that was part of them being in agreement, that the players said, we don't want to play that soon or whatever. But still, I think that between baseball being messy publicly and missing the chance to be first, and also missing the opportunity to at least have a little bit of exclusivity at a time when they usually have a lot, and this time around they're not, I think that they probably, to me, come out the worst. But, yeah, let's hope they can get out there by July 15th. Let's hope this particular thing is accepted. They're not going to play that many games, so they're not going to make the kind of money that they were anyway. So 20%, and what they're offering now, Major League Baseball, 80% of their prorated salaries. So for players who probably want all of it, but, we're not talking about that much money here on either side. So I think just stomping.
I think I get the players part of like, we're not going to revenue sharing, right? I think they should, because I think in the long run they're going to wish they had. I think the owners have smartened up and they're not going to keep overspending, not in mass force. And I think they're going to continue. I think they figured it out in the last 2 years. The percentage of the revenue that the players are getting has dropped. And I think that is not just a blip. I think it's a trend, and a trend that the owners, by listening to the math guys, have figured out. They don't have to spend all this money to have a contending team. And I think the players are dumb for not examining the best way to get a high floor on a revenue sharing deal with a salary cap. But that being said, if you disagree with me and you don't want it, you don't want it. And they've never had it. And I don't know why they should be expected to take on a revenue sharing formula of any kind now when the sport has never, ever gone down that road.
Well, I think the players have had good arguments all along. And I think the owners, I've said this, I think every time we've talked about this on this show, they know that they almost can do anything and won't get hurt that badly in the court of public perception. Now, I did hear yesterday's poll where 76% of people were against the owners in that particular question, in this unscientific the program poll. But I think
it is scientific. By the way, I hate when people say that. Like, it's a poll. It's a poll. It's just a scientific poll of people who follow Curtis on Twitter and listen to the program.
Right. That's why I was.
It's still scientific.
That's what I was going to get at, is the fact that I think this is a more learned bunch in general, and just not people who say they're making a lot of money, they're playing a kid's game. I don't really know what's going on with these owners. We all know they're rich, but I don't really pay attention to them. I don't care, and so players get out there and play. And I think the owners know that. They play on it, and they're playing on it again. And I'd be frustrated too if I were the players. They've really, from a reasonable point to begin with, they have made some concessions in their proposals. So I do think the owners are in the wrong, but like I said, wrong time to be right. And if they don't play baseball and soon. And also, the longer they go without playing baseball, the more they are airing their dirty laundry. So they just can't help it.
Are they going to play, do you think, in your mind?
I do think they're going to play because they keep creeping ever closer to, something that I think both sides can maybe swallow. So, yes, I do think they're going to play, but they're going to end up playing so few games that I don't think it's going to be a season that I'm not even going to call valid, really. I mean, I think they had to get. I think they borderline had to be up near 100 games. The way that baseball is played,
I hate that too. I guess I don't hate it. I see where you're coming from. That look, if they'd have spent their time that we were in the midst of the hardcore stay at home, situation on the phone, negotiating, getting everything ready. I am with you. Then they could have been up and running and they could have played more games. If you want to say, I'm not going to recognize the season because they screwed it up, they cost us 60 games by being petulant children. Okay, I get that. I'll go with that. But I don't care if they play a 20-game season and then play the playoffs. It counts. It freaking counts. And if my team wins it, I'm going to polish that trophy. And whoever does win it, it's going to count. And I get your point that, listen, they could have played a lot more. But I don't like the idea. I've had a number of people well, there's going to be an asterisk. I'm like, shove your asterisk where the sun doesn't shine.
Yeah,
okay?
They've played odd seasons before. They played a split season, which
they had 103 to 110 games in 81.
Right, and they played a season where a half a season counted as you win and your win. I guess so. From a championship standpoint, if you're playing an extended amount of playoffs and things like that, am I going to think the same of the championship? No, but they don't have to put an asterisk on it. But so much of what we love about baseball is the numbers and the season, and somebody's going to win have the most wins in the league with 7, or win the home run title
right.
with 17, or is odd. That's all, and just a missed opportunity too. So that's all. Baseball. A big part of baseball is the length and breadth of the season, the numbers we love, and things like
the
that.
Dog days and stuff like that.
Mike Trout, 2020 MVP season, 323 with 17 home runs 60. And 52 runs. It's just weird. That's all.
Yeah, there's no doubt. But it's what we got to do. And I'll take it. And I'll
take it too. I will take it too, especially because no matter how many games they end up playing, they're going to have to play them in a hurry. So you're still going to get that aspect of baseball, which is the daily drumbeat of games, which is what one of the things that we like about baseball.
I just don't like it when people are like, wow, this. Look, yes, I mean, it's odd, it's different, but it's tremendous times, okay? That's why it is what it is. So that's just the part that frustrates me, just my pet peeve on that. Let's take a break. We'll come back. I do want to talk about a little bit about KU. Perhaps, if you want. We can talk a little bit more about the Royals draft, if you want. It is Danny Unleashed, brought to you by Easton Roofing. Commercial and residential roofing, yes, they do both. One of the fastest-growing companies in Kansas City, locally owned and operated, serving the metro, including Lawrence and Topeka. No payment collected until you're 100% satisfied. You can pay with credit cards, PayPal, financing available as well. Check out their Google reviews. You'll see just how happy people are after they've had Easton Roofing repair or replace their roof. 4 straight years voted best of houses. Angie's List Super Service Award winner. Happy to do repairs. That's Easton Roofing. Easton Roofing. Integrity matters. And don't forget the Bushnell Factory Outlet Sale going on right now. Trail cameras. How about those cellular trail cameras? They've got the factory refurbished cellular trail cams for just $150. That is an unbelievable deal. Golf laser rangefinder starting at $149.99. It's at 8500 Marshall Drive, the Bushnell Factory Outlet Sale, another locally owned and operated company. Get there tonight till 7, tomorrow 10 to 5. Great gifts for Dad. And pick yourself up something as well. At these prices, why wouldn't you? Bushnell Factory Outlet Sale going on right now. Father's Day is the focus, and you can pick up great gifts at the Bushnell Factory Outlet Sale at 8500 Marshall Drive.
More of Danny's Reasonably Irreverent podcast after this.
We're here with Joe Spiker, the CEO and president of Easton Roofing. And, Joe, you had a great year in 2019, a record year. 2020 comes, things are moving smoothly along, and then the coronavirus comes. But your company seemed to be very ready, very proactive, and very ready to serve your customers well.
Yeah, we adopted social distancing very early before the cities even put out the notices. And we started working from home. We are largely cloud-based as a company, so that transition was easy. Our technicians are wearing masks and gloves, and salespeople are not meeting with homeowners. We're doing everything digitally and doing everything we can to do our part to get over this as quickly as possible.
So for any needs that people have right now, what's the best way to get in touch with you?
Well, you can always call us, 913-257-5426. But the best way is to go to eastonroofing.com, put your information in, and we'll give you a call.
Easton Roofing. Integrity matters.
All right, the good sense. End of the hour answer. Asa Lacy out of Texas A&M to the Royals. He was the only player drafted out of Texas A&M to play in multiple Major League All-Star games. I'll give you one hint. He once played for the Royals. I'll give you a second hint. He once had an errant throw into the stands, hit Keith Olbermann's mom.
An A&M guy.
Nothing is ringing a bell.
Played in Kansas City.
Mm-hmm. Had a little case of the yips with the old arm late in his career. And threw a ball so far off to first base.
Knobloch?
Chuck Knobloch.
Oh.
He threw one, hit a woman in the stands. He went and looked at it. It was Olbermann's mom was sitting there. She got plunked in the first row.
Maybe that was the time he decided that was enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the Royals said, well, try outfield. Because we're in the midst of spending $20,000 total in Latin America over a 6-year span. Maybe it was a 10-year span. So, there's no chance we're going to find any talent in one of the most talent-rich areas in the world. So let's try you as an outfielder. Come on down. Howard Baird didn't know what he was doing. Yeah, trust me. You try fighting Mike Tyson with both hands tied behind your back, and you tell me how you do. Okay? Let me know how that ends up working out when it's all said and done. That was, the Glass family grew as owners.
Yeah, as I heard yesterday, Pete Enoch can wax on about the, vagaries of the Kansas City Athletics all he want, but we can go blow for blow on that with every dumb story about the Royals. And, I don't know if anybody tried to climb the wall on a ball that fell 20 feet onto the field.
Oh, Kerry Robinson.
Chip Ambrose.
That's the worst when Chip Ambrose getting – Terry Robinson was the worst play. Now, it was maybe when Chip Ambrose getting hit on the head with a fly ball to, maintain a, 19-game losing streak. That's brilliant. And what did they have, like a 5-run lead or something?
They were up in that, and then I think Cleveland scored 9 runs in the 9th inning.
And there to recap it all
was Danny and me.
Curtis Siebold, Soren Petro, all those horrific years. We seemed to man the pre and post during all those years. So to their credit, one of the great things that happened to that organization was getting us away from the pre and post of Royals baseball.
Except I continued to do it in some form or fashion for forever and a day. But I got my reward. I got to go to every playoff and World Series game for 2 years. Yeah. That's pretty damn good. I'm glad to pay those kind of dues for that reward.
Yeah, absolutely. Good sense. What we were playing for there, of course, slicing the meats and cheeses fresh every single day. Locally owned and founded, locally owned and operated all your Good Sense stores, but founded right here. Yes, a very successful company that's grown and grown and grown, but founded in Lenexa, Kansas, and always a big part of Kansas City, official partner of Sporting Kansas City. And right now, Youth League kids in a Youth League jersey get a free cookie. So if you got your Youth League soccer jersey, go to Good Sense, get a free cookie with it. You can put your order in at goodsensesubs.com. It is a great, great way to grab lunch for the family if you're headed out this weekend, or even if you're just staying at home. Click your time and go pick it up. They even deliver as well. That is Good Sense Subs, founded right here in Lenexa, Kansas. They have got you covered, as does Easton Roofing.
A couple quick notes there. Easton Roofing, as you mentioned, today is Joe's birthday.
Oh, really?
Happy birthday to Joe. And the other thing, we don't really have to, it's been talked about so much, but I just had to weigh in on Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs just knocking it out of the park the other day. That's all you need to say. I don't think I've ever heard Andy Reid so excited. So energized. So, how many times did he say, Man, I'm fired up, man. I'm fired up, man. It was great stuff. So they deserve a tremendous amount of credit for that.
What do you think of their unwillingness to answer any questions when it comes to what they anticipate the policy to be on kneeling this year?
Didn't like that part, but I guess the rest of it was so good and so enthusiastic that maybe they just don't want to make a commitment at this point in time, which is sort of both of their natures, I think. I'm going to be I'll be stunned if Patrick Mahomes doesn't kneel. I'll say that. But a coach, I still am of the feeling the coaches are probably going to walk a balance, support their players, but not kneel themselves. That would be my guess. But I think that almost whether he wants to or not, having said what he said, Mahomes is almost obligated to kneel now.
And if he does it once, he's probably going to do it every game. I mean, it isn't a one-time thing. And then, okay, I made my point. I would think he's going to continue to do it.
I would think, and the interesting dynamic, I talked about this on my Monday podcast, was they will start this process without any fans in the stands to either boo or cheer.
Yeah.
So
that's true.
They kind of have a little bit of a pass on that. Now, obviously, millions of people will be watching and reacting on social media, etc. But there will be no, right there, and because that is or would have been, I think it still is, very interesting dynamic, because there's going to be a goodly portion, whatever portion you decide it might be, of people in the stands who don't like it. And there's going to be a goodly portion of fans in the stands who think it's just great. Are they going to yell at each other? Are they going to have signs? Are they going to, throw masks at each other? That
would be ironic.
Well, just because the only people who would have a mask to throw are probably the people who would be in the favor of the protesters. I don't want to make a total generalization, but
there's not much crossover on the old Venn diagram.
But anyway. It seems as if not wearing a mask has become a bit of a badge of honor, unfortunately for some, and just a simple bit of courtesy for others. But hey, people believe what they believe. I'm not going to change their mind, so whatever.
I would tend to agree that you're not going to change their minds.
I mean, when you have somebody who just quit his job driving a car for in a NASCAR setting because of the Confederate flag ruling. I quit. I'm done.
Who quit?
There's some guy named Ray Cicerelli. It was noted that he retires with as many wins as the Confederacy had. 0. Well, that was strong. Jason Anderson tweeted out they're going to still run the old Confederate flag with one lap to the white flag. They're still going to run that one, but if someone has to ask, were you in NASCAR? Then did you really quit NASCAR? If no one knew you were in it in the first place.
But he's got his 170 characters. What is it? 140 characters worth of fame right now. So
it's 280 now.
He led 20 laps. Did you say? He's led one lap.
One lap?
And he finished in 9th place in that race. Yes.
On the big circuit, or do we?
He also ran NASCAR Truck Series.
Truck Series.
So
Of course.
That's what I had the same question. So he did that one lap led was
in the big series.
Was in the NASCAR, the Xfinity.
Yeah,
or not the Xfinity.
Their truck.
It was in the truck. Okay.
Yeah.
So he's led one lap in the Truck Series.
Yeah, I mean, he's won as many races as you and I have. So,
but I mean, like you can win in the Truck Series and then get a ride in the Big Series,
right? I mean, winning in the Truck Series. If he'd won in the Truck Series, that's something. I mean, Kyle Busch still runs trucks, so a lot of times. So,
but if he hasn't even won in the trucks, then he's truly a wart on the ass of NASCAR.
Yeah, he's not much, and he's getting a lot of run because he's doing something that most people consider remarkably stupid. But I just let's just skip past the Confederate flag just to leave. That's another one.
Okay,
you're not going to change anybody's mind. So whatever.
No, I don't know. I think you know what it has. So let me ask you this, because I do want to ask you more about Andy Reid. Because I was a little perturbed with part of it. Maybe it's because I was the guy asking the question and getting no answer, getting a complete stiff arm. But Has anybody's mind changed? Like it's definitely a different environment now, right? The movement, the protests. It's a broad swath of people. There's it's not just African American people. It's not just people of color. There are plenty of white people that are out protesting as well.
Oh, yeah, I mean, there was a march last night or Wednesday night in Prairie Village, and the images of that, I didn't see one black face.
Well, and one of the things, which is, maybe part of the economic issue we should discuss, because I don't think you'd see many black faces if there's a march in Mission Hills or Leawood or Briarcliff or, the expensive places to live around here, which is part of the issue. To me, the economics are the part of the issue that has to come around and get talked about eventually, but I digress. I'm not going to go down there because it's just a long way to go and a lot to cover. But the thing that I think is of note is I don't know that anybody's mind has changed this time. Like anybody views anything differently. I think what has changed is instead of like, yeah, I agree with that guy, go team, while they sit on their couch, the people that agreed aren't on their couch anymore. They're like, wait a minute, I just sat around last time thinking change would come because it was the right thing, but it didn't. I've got to act. I don't know. I think the people that are anti Black Lives Matter, with whatever spiel it is, whether it's why isn't all lives matter? Like, I'm not even going to dignify what the purpose is of the Black Lives Matter and why it's a phrase that needs to be uttered, and you should understand that. If you don't, I don't have time to try to help you to figure it out. But I think what's happened is people are willing to act, right? Like people that before said, God, this is terrible. Society needs to change. And then that's it. They were done. They're now protesting, and they're demanding change.
I think that there might be some people who are mildly against, who now are hearing that Missouri football players and Patrick Mahomes and these other people, they actually have something tangible to say. We're registering people to vote, or we're going down and registering to vote, or we want we want body cams on all policemen. They're getting some specifics. That was a question that a lot of people would say before. That was why I didn't have much, really I could understand why people were angry with the kneeling of, and now, of course, the former Chiefs defensive back, his name is fleeing my head.
Marcus Peters.
Marcus Peters, yeah. That's why Marcus Peters, he just did such a piss-poor job of explaining what he was kneeling about, that if you didn't like Marcus Peters, you were just got, gas on the fire for you. Well, now there's people are adroitly, articulately giving specific things that they would like to see addressed, not just kneeling and putting their fist in the air and then not explaining it. So maybe that segment of people is being tipped over. But you're right. If somebody's really dug in on the issue, they're not changing their mind. Now, maybe they're shutting up a little bit because they realize that maybe it's not so cool. People always love to be, if you're screaming along with 80% of the people, even if all 80% of you are ignorant, you're empowered. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, agreed. I hear what you're saying on that. My frustration with Andy Reid and the owners have said nothing.
Right.
And maybe it's not frustration, but I am definitely waiting for them to come forward individually, all 31 of them plus the president of the Packers, to come forward and make some public statements and then to talk about how they're going to do things. I know they announced that the league as a whole is going to donate $25 million a year for 10 years. Right, so you figure a little less than $1 million a team they're putting in each year. That's significant, right? Like, I know they're worth billions, and I had somebody say, "Well, that's nothing for those guys." I'm like, "Well,
it's still $25 million. It's still $25 million.
It is. It absolutely is, and so that is a good step. But the part that frustrated me was when I pressed a number of people. I pressed Jim Sturk on it. I pressed Eli Drinkwitz. Eli Drinkwitz said it's like he had a good answer. It was pretty much like it's too far down the road. We're focused on now, what we can do right now. I'm like, okay, that's great. But also the common theme of this whole discussion is like last time it was, well, it didn't carry forward any momentum. Everybody just kind of like let it drop. right? So, like, how do you not let it drop? That, to me, is one of the things that has to continue here. So that's fine. We'll find out what Mizzou's going to do. Jim Sturck said something similar, and he's like, yeah, we haven't had that discussion yet. And I get it. They got a lot on their plate trying to figure out how to get the school in session and how to play sports with a pandemic going on. I totally get it. I am not at all perturbed by the fact that Missouri doesn't have every answer to every question right now. And it's same with every other school. It's just Missouri's made their top people available most recently. But my frustration with Andy Reid is, like, he's like, no, that's not what it's about. No, it is what it's about. Like, I didn't like that. Andy Reid went into his, I'm the coach, and I'll dictate what the terms are, and he totally avoided my question. And Colin Kaepernick, he's like, it's about what's on the inside and not putting up barriers. Oh, like the one you observed in not signing Colin Kaepernick? Because I'm going to tell you right now, he's better than Matt Moore. He's better than Chad Henne. He's been better than numerous quarterbacks you've had on your roster for the last 4 years. But you observed this artificial wall that was put up to keep from signing the guy. So it is about that, Andy. It is about you recognizing the mistakes that you've made as a coach, or the fact that your paycheck became more important, or being on board with your owner, or being on board with the league became more important than what was inside of Colin Kaepernick, who peacefully protested. Now what you're championing, he did. And you were party to blackballing the man from the league. I will not let that slip for any coach that was coaching back then that now wants to wave the banner so prominently and loudly and just get by on the fact that they were part of shutting down the movement.
Well, and a big part of it is because they're reading the room. The room.
Absolutely.
The players are empowered now. Before, 3-4 players are going to kneel. Everybody else hasn't really got the courage at this point in time, pretty much, to put their jobs on the line, because they know that they were putting their jobs on the line. They saw it. And so
that's part of the story, is that someone lost their job.
Now if you've got 2/3 to 3/4 of your locker room who are going to kneel, you better say it's okay.
Right.
I mean, what's Jerry Jones going to do? He was flat out. I mean, he was the most vocal voice against it. Well, he's just going to have to do a 180. And luckily for these people, it's almost like everybody forgot. I mean, Andy Reid, you're right. Andy Reid was complicit in what went on before. Pete Carroll, who's generally seemingly a forward-looking person as far as a football coach is concerned, he's got quotes out there now that, well, I don't really know why. I kind of regret we didn't sign it. I don't know what I was thinking. And I heard somebody else say it, and they were absolutely true. Every football coach knows exactly what they're thinking when they decide whether they're going to sign a football player or not. And for them to say, I don't really know why we didn't go down that road. Bull.
The hell you don't.
Right. The hell. Yeah. The hell you say.
Yeah, no, I agree wholeheartedly. I refuse to let it just go. Like, no, we're having a party over here. Get with the party. Yeah, I'm all for it, but I'm about the party lasting a lifetime. And not just, being the guy out front playing the music here till 10 and then headed home. Okay? Like, that's great, but, like, there were mistakes that were made, and if they're not acknowledged at some level, then, what have we really done other than, like you said, read the room? I do want to say this. I didn't beat the Colin Kaepernick drum all the time. I brought it up every year. I brought it up every year when the Chiefs would bring the quarterbacks, and I got nothing but pissed off people. I didn't get anybody who went, by the way, man, black or white, by the way, who said, thanks for bringing up Colin Kaepernick's name. Maybe I did. Maybe I did. If somebody did, I want to apologize that it's not on the top of my mind. But I would get people all the time that are like, why would you bring up Kaepernick? Kaepernick sucks. No, he doesn't. He's got a 2.5 to 1 touchdown to interception ratio, which is better than Jared Goff, who has $110 million guaranteed on his deal. He's got 3 seasons that are better QBR-wise than anything Jared Goff's ever had. A fourth one that's right there, and he can't get a job. And I'm not even asking you to give him $110 million guaranteed. I'm just asking you to sign the guy to play. You can't tell me you're all about winning, and it's the most competitive environment. And Vic Fangio, everyone who's got a job, they got it because they deserved it. Bull. I mean, that's absolute bull because Colin Kaepernick would have a job. So, like, Colin Kaepernick, so many people let me just finish this. So many people just want to, like, oh, I'm on board on the movement, and let's sweep Kaepernick under the rug. Let's not talk about him. No, we have to talk about him because he's the tip of the spear of what was going on. A guy who did nothing wrong and was a talented player was blackballed by an entire league. And that's great that they're saying the right things right now. But it does not erase what they did 4 years ago. Just like right now, great, we don't have slavery. It doesn't take it out of the history books.
Right.
It still happened.
And also, from a football standpoint, he plays a brand of football that now is embraced fivefold more than it was when he was playing, even.
Yes.
I mean, everybody wants players who play the position like that.
Yeah,
and he would probably play it even more improvisationally than he did at that point in time. Back then, maybe somebody could say, well, we like a pro-style quarterback. Well, now a pro-style quarterback is him.
16 touchdowns, 4 picks in the last NFL season that he played in.
Right.
I mean, it wasn't like he was limping to the line and they just booted him because he sucked.
No, there's no guarantee he still has it. He hasn't played football in a long time, but that doesn't mean he shouldn't have the opportunity to try. He could go out there and stink. That's possible.
Yeah.
But, that the evidence of when he played would be that he would not go out there and stink.
All right, let's take a break. More with Danny Clinkscale. Danny's brought to you by our friends at Easton Roofing. Easton Roofing, integrity, it matters. 913-257-5426. Check out their Google reviews at Easton Roofing. You'll see just how satisfied their customers are. And make sure you check out the big Father's Day sale going on at the Bushnell Factory Outlet Sale. 8500 Marshall Drive. They're open tonight till 7, tomorrow 10 to 5. That's it. Today and tomorrow is it for the sale. Great gifts for Dad for Father's Day. Great gifts for you. If you're a dad, treat yourself. Golf laser rangefinder starting at $149.99. $50 golf GPSs. $25 spotting scopes. $30 trail cameras. $10 Camelback water bottles. They've got end-of-season specials on ground blinds, turkey decoys, turkey calls. If your dad likes to be outside, all right, there is something absolutely fantastic for Dad at the Bushnell Factory Outlet Sale. Locally owned and operated. Great friend, great partner of Sports Radio 810 WHB, and great folks over at the Bushnell Factory Outlet. Go see them at 8500 Marshall Drive.
More of Danny's Reasonably Irreverent podcast after this.
We're here with Joe Spiker, the CEO and president of Easton Roofing. What's the difference at this time of year as we head toward the warmer months for homeowners, and what should they be looking at, coronavirus or not?
If you didn't do a good job of home maintenance in the fall, cleaning your gutters out, when we get the spring rains, that can be a real problem. So you want to make sure that you've done a good job on your home maintenance, cleaning your gutters out. We can help with that. I always tell people they never get their roof inspected. They get their furnace inspected once a year, but they never get their roof inspected. And we do the inspection on your roof for free. So you call, you make an appointment, and we'll show up, do the inspection. It's free. You should have your roof looked at once a year. Take advantage of us. And most likely you're fine. And if there's a problem, hopefully we can get out in front of it and save you money in the end.
So for any needs that people have right now, what's the best way to get in touch with you?
Well, you can always call us, 913-257-5426. But the best way is to go to eastonroofing.com, put your information in, and we'll give you a call.
Easton Roofing. Integrity matters.
You're in the program on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Danny Unleashed, brought to you by our friends at Easton Roofing. Integrity matters. See them online at eastonroofing.com. Call them at 913-257-5426. Sam will be happy. She'll answer any questions you got, get you directed. Free estimate. That's what you can get right now at Easton Roofing. Free inspection and free estimate. Call 913-257-5426. No payment collected until you're 100% satisfied. Credit cards, PayPal, and financing available as well with Easton Roofing. And don't forget about that Father's Day sale going on at Bushnell. Danny, what do you make? $7 million lawsuit now. Brett Bielema is filing against Arkansas. Look, this is not going to create the ouster of Jeff Long, but he needs to put some wins on the board.
Yeah, I would say, especially when his loss to David Beatty is followed up by another story today by Jesse Newell that they also have spent $500,000 on legal fees in that particular case. So you can dollop that onto the $2.3 million they had to give David Beatty. I didn't get that one. That was just so weird. And I thought Blair Kirchhoff said something interesting yesterday. He's like, if you're going to dumbass do this for all this time, you might as well stick it out and take it to court.
unless this is the first time that he got told, hey, TJ Gasnola, really? Like, you're going to, like, you don't understand. There's like, okay, you fight this fight, but if you cost the basketball program, if you put some death knell into the basketball program, it's your ass.
Yeah, he'll go the way of Al Bowl if the basketball program is compromised, and tough
Crushed
times
like
to be to enter into a job anyway, but to make this almost, it's like somebody else was telling him, we need to. This is a fight. This is a hill you got to die on, because it just didn't make any sense for a person, any person of sense. I mean, who cares? It's peanuts.
Well, particularly when
it was unbelievable.
The legal fees meant you ended up spending more than it was anyway.
Yes.
And you got all the bad press. Like, you basically spent $50,000 to buy bad press.
Exactly. Sounds like the kind of PR you don't get from Venice Communications, my wife's firm.
Nice plug.
Figure if she's got a broken ankle, shall I give her a plug?
Check out Danny, more of Danny Clinkscale at DannyClinkscale.com, brought to you by our friends at Easton Roofing.
This podcast was made possible by our great sponsors like Easton Roofing, the presenting sponsor of Kansas City Profiles at the Danny Clinkscale Reasonably Irreverent podcast. Easton Roofing, where integrity matters. We hope you enjoyed the latest Danny Clinkscale Reasonably Irreverent podcast. Come back soon for something fresh and new.